Hey, Billy the Bake here. Thanks for joining me. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is William, and I've been in recovery since 1988. Now, my tenure here doesn't make me stronger, smarter, faster, better, God, certainly not any prettier than anybody else. But it does mean I've had time in the rooms to earn a postdoc in F around and find out, to screw around, screw off, and screw up. There's been a lot of mistakes made and lessons learned. And really, that's a large part of what I have to say that maybe a lot of folks don't, just because I came in so bullheaded, so basically arrogant and stubborn. And I had to learn a lot of stuff the hard way, and I'm here to pass some of those lessons along if you're interested. Anyway, let's get down to today's topic. It's the first of a multi-part series in Mistakes Made and Lessons Learned. So, let's call this one Changing Seats on the Titanic. Changing seats on the Titanic. That would be an excellent tactical move to stay dry for 5 minutes. As a long-term strategy, son, you're going in the drink. Sorry, you're gonna drown. But for a few minutes, it'll bail you out. In the short term, it might look like in the short term, it might not look like a good solution. It might be a good solution. You know, if the helicopter is coming in and it's 1,000 feet away, hey man, that's the move. That's the move. But as a longer term, no. Anyhow, I was introduced to the rooms. I should say reintroduced, because I was sent back when I was in high school. I paid no attention, didn't want to be there, didn't have a problem. You know, you're the one with the problem. I'm doing fine. Yeah, you get sent there in high school. Come on. You're not doing okay. But I thought it was. So anyhow, I was 21 years old, full of piss and vinegar. Give a buddy a ride. Don't feel like sitting in the car waiting for the meeting, so I go in and have a cup of coffee. Oh, that's the beginning of the end right there, kids. Did some accidental listening. You go in there, you start listening, you could catch alcoholism. Anyhow, you know, it was other stuff besides alcohol that I could really see was kicking me in the cubes on a daily basis. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd look at where my life was going and how and why, and I knew it was the guy in the mirror doing it to poor little Billy. So I'd start telling myself all this Tony Robbins stuff, blowing smoke up my own nether orifice about how it's the first day of the rest of my life. I'm going to turn over a new leaf. It's a new day, blah, blah, blah. And I'd go to work, and by lunchtime, I'd have forgot all that stuff and just thinking about nothing about that, but just gotta get out of this place as soon as I can shut her down for the night. PFO. So anyway, give my buddy the scrapper a ride to a meeting. Did some accidental listening. And I decided that I didn't have a problem with alcohol itself, that everything else I had a problem with. That I could do this and not that. I'm not the only guy I've heard say this coming in the rooms, which is kind of why I bring this topic up. So anyhow, I just set it out on a set of protocols that would be great to keep any normal person from ever having any kind of a problem. I was not going to have more than one or maybe two drinks. I was only going to drink in a social setting. I wasn't going to drink alone. I wasn't going to do straight shots or anything. You know, there's no drunkenness. All right, fair enough. For the normal folks, probably worked. One thing that hadn't crossed my mind is do you think normal people need a freaking protocol to control their alcohol consumption? I heard it said, and it stuck with me, that normal people think about alcohol in a similar fashion to how they think about mayonnaise. And damn it, I don't think anybody is looking for protocols on how to moderate or control their mayonnaise usage. You know, it's not like I want some mayo. I'm going to have a tuna fish sandwich and I'll mix a little extra mayo in and make it kind of extra loose. And, you know, if I take some finely shredded lettuce, I can throw a little extra Miracle Whip on the bread and the lettuce kind of soak. Man, people ain't playing mind games with it. They ain't laying in a stash of a case of mayonnaise so that if the jar of mayonnaise runs out, they can crack another and have a few more sitting in the bullpen just in case. No. They ain't lying about their mayonnaise usage. It ain't a trick to them. Yeah, I'm belaboring the point. So anyhow, I set out on these protocols. And fair enough, I had never displayed any kind of alcoholic tendency up to that point. When me and the boys get together, we go out partying, whatever. A lot of the time, I was a designated driver. I could have one drink, two drinks, no drinks. If I had one, might have another, might not, didn't matter. If I was driving, you know, just gotta keep it chill. Can't be getting hammered driving. It was a no-brainer. It didn't require a lot of willpower. Now, hey, you know, the devil's lettuce may have come into play. Well, may have like, I may have been breathing, therefore, yeah, I might have been smoking weed. May or may not have been some marching powders, depending on what was around. You know, whatever party favors were there, down to clown. But, so anyhow, here's how controlled social drinking looked for me immediately after quitting everything else. And I mean immediately. Within the next day, next week. It's a long time ago. I don't remember it that clearly, but it was like bang. It threw a switch where I'd get up in the morning, I'd be so happy I wasn't, you know, taking X, Y, and Z. Just, you know, dislocating my shoulder, patting myself on the back, right? Run down to the shop, open her up, start work. By lunchtime, I just can't, by lunchtime, I can't quit thinking about how that one or maybe two social drinks would sure take the edge off. And by the time, you know, afternoon comes around, it's time that I can legitimately lock the door. I bolt for the little Plymouth, scream across town, screech to a halt in front of the crappy tavern across from where I was living at the time, bust through the door, say hi to the bartender. It is now a social occasion because I had said hi to somebody. I'd ignore everybody. I would order one of the beer I liked, pound it as quickly as was allowable outside of a frat party, order a second, and I'd nurse it. I wasn't drinking socially because there was a social occasion. I wanted my skin to fit right and not be itchy. I was drinking to medicate feelings. And that happened immediately after I quit medicating with everything else. And there you go. That's number one. I missed that. I didn't see that point. And then as I'm drinking the first, I'm thinking about the second. As I'm drinking the second, I am in an inner debate about how, you know, trying to think of a reason, a way that I can have a third. Just one more. Just one freaking more. I'm not even enjoying the one I'm having because I'm tripping out that I really want one more. Anyhow, I didn't see that as being a problem because I wasn't getting drunk, I wasn't getting in fights, I wasn't getting a DUI, I wasn't, hell, bar was across from where I lived, so I'd walk home anyway. I couldn't have got a DUI. Anyway, a few weeks, I don't know, couple, 3, maybe 4, I don't know, not far in. My friend Hole calls up, says, hey man, me and Fat John gonna go hit the spots you wanna roll with? I'm always down to clown. This would be the first time that I actually would have had any kind of social engagement reason to imbibe a beverage. So, run home, shower, change clothes, get together with the boys, go hit the spot. Standard protocols apply, order a beer, guzzle it, order a second, I'm nursing it down. While I'm finishing that one, Fat John's on me saying, hey man, you gotta have one of what I'm having. Oh, no, I'm good, no thanks. No, really, it's so good, it's so tasty, it'll change your life. It's called Oss, and he's holding up a bottle. It's called Oss, it's from Germany. Look at it, AASS. Said, looks like ass to me, man. He goes, no, it's Oss. That's, that A there has the little dots over the top of it. Those of you who study German will recognize I'm talking about umlauts. Anyhow, my protocols, which were to be followed rigorously, carved in stone from cradle to grave, etched somewhere up in God's library, they didn't take into account that Fat John said that beer was tasty. I learned 2 things that day. Number 1 is that there's no more controlled drinking for me. There's no more social drinking for me. Number 2, John's a terrible judge of what beer is tasty. Man, I order a bottle of this foul direct that these little krauts are brewing out of, I don't know, road tar, chewing tobacco, and hops. It's foul. See, it just makes me want to cough up a hairball just thinking about it. Order a bottle of this terrible stuff. I start chewing my way through it, and it's just nasty. But I invested like $3 or whatever. This is 1988. Beer was less expensive. I invested some money in it, and it had alcohol, so we can't throw it away. Get halfway down it. A thought comes into my head. And I say, a thought comes into my head. It wasn't like the voice that I think things in. No, wasn't that. Kind of this smarmy smartass, like if Gilbert Gottfried played Jiminy Cricket. His voice comes into my head. You know, you're not drunk yet, but you're not sober. And with that, it was like, bang, time, stop, physical reality, everything. So like universe threw the brakes on, man, literally. Wildly profound, kind of out of body freaking metaphysical experience, okay? No kidding. Anyhow, another thought comes to me, and I'm standing, and it's like nothing's moving. I physically feel like I am standing on the upturned edge of a razor blade. I'm balanced on it. And the gust of wind from a butterfly passing by could have knocked me from one side to the other. And a voice comes into my head, a different voice, and it's not the voice I think in. It's like some external voice in my head. You can have recovery now if you want it. I understood several things, although there were no words attached. There were several things I understood. Number 1, excuse me. Boy, I must have thought of that beer again. Oh. But number 1, this was the introductory and final offer. So it was, we were going to put it all on this hand right here. I was going to make this choice. I can have recovery now if I want it. nobody was going to make this choice for me. I was not going to be influenced by any outside force. I was being given the choice. I hadn't had a choice in substance abuse for a long time. I had been driven under the lashes of drugs and alcohol, to use a phrase I have plagiarized from someone. And it meant that the choice was I either become a real recovery guy, start going to these meetings in earnest, do the deal, or I might as well see if Hole or Fat John was holding a sack of weed. Trust me, one or the other, or probably both of those jabronis had a sack. And hey man, maybe we go find Uncle Whitey and get some marching powders and tune this up, do it right. Because I was either all the way in or all the way out. And if I didn't become a recovery guy, I was going to get back on the merry-go-round, ride that little pony, stuck on stupid to the bitter end. That was my choice. Very simple. Not easy. Simple. Liking to think of myself as an intellectual, I had many questions for the universe. Here I am presented with the choice, and it's like the choice between ice cream and ass cancer. So, of course, I'm very thoughtful. I want to know, what flavor of ice cream? How much? It doesn't have walnuts in it because, the skin on the walnuts just makes my teeth, Well, here's the upshot. What flavor would you like, Billy? You can have all the freaking ice cream. And no, you don't have to have walnuts in it. More questions. Couldn't I just take chemo for the ass cancer? The universe is like, son, it's ice cream versus ass cancer. Quit making it hard. You're being given the chance to do what you want, which is get freedom. Take yes for an answer. Simple choice, but not easy. So anyway, at some point, even somebody as cerebral and thoughtful as myself can make the right choice and choose the ice cream and leave the ass cancer. And I remember thinking, which, my answer to the universe, I thought it out, was, well, I guess that I'll finish this beer and go to a meeting tomorrow, and that will begin my journey of recovery. And the universe was kind of like, no, numbnuts. Now means now. You start now. You don't just choose now. You start now. I was all pooch-lipped and butthurt because I didn't get to finish this beer that was frankly disgusting. It makes me want to bring up a hairball 30-something years later thinking about it. But, it had alcohol. So anyway, take that can of Ouse, set it on the counter, start to turn around to rejoin my friend's bartender. He's looking at me like I'm painted green and got two heads. In fact, he almost looked a little offended. Maybe I'm painted green, got two heads, and said something about his mama. He says, is there something wrong with that? No, well, thank you, sir. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just done. It was the last drink I had in a bar. Last drink I had. Almost said the last drink I ordered, but oddly enough, it wasn't. And there is a story behind that, but we're going to have to get to it another time because we're running long and we need to wrap this up because, God Almighty, some of us got a shop here to clean. And I don't see all y'all coming in here and helping me today, so I better get cracking. This lesson was a complete gimme from the universe. A complete and total gimme. This isn't something I learned through work or learned through experience. It was just handed to me on a silver platter. As I look back on it now, I can see where, although I didn't show any signs of any kind of alcoholism, because I didn't mentally obsess about it when I wasn't drinking, and I didn't have one and set off a desire for more. As soon as I quit everything else and tried to drink socially, immediately I'd be thinking about it all day. I'd be thinking about nothing other than just getting that first one in me. Once I have one, I can't even enjoy it because I'm thinking about the next. Not a terribly dramatic story of alcoholism, but it took me a while to really come to grips with the fact that, yeah, those are the two telltale markers of alcoholic addiction. And yeah, it looks like Billy here's got them. You know, didn't get burned bad by it, didn't suffer much, Dave. And at this point, I don't want to. So anyway, if this is helpful to anybody, I'm not sure if I should say I'm sorry about that. As always, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're safe, well, and happy. And until next time, I'll see you out on the road or in the sleeper of the Freightliner, or maybe here in the shop. Be seeing you.